The gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. It's Thursday. Great mix of guests and sports. We got some current action in NFL. We got college football. We got NBA. Excited about today's show. Being joined as always by my good friend Dan. Dan, who we got on? Who's on the show today? Who's going to bring it home on this Thursday?
Well, we know that Yanni, who usually does his steam report right at the top, he's at a wedding in Philadelphia. I'm sorry, folks.
That's awesome.
Yanni also has a life and has things to do, but he will be back for steam reports. But guess what? We didn't lose anything because we got Steve Merrill filling in for him. He's going to go over some new features on the Odds Logic site that you can maybe start doing your own steam reports, folks. So we're going to talk about that with Steve at the top. He's also got a play for you in some college football action tomorrow. We'll talk Bills, Jaguars as well, and a little NBA play. Cavaliers, Timberwolves coming from Steve. And then the great Joe Raineri joining us. He'll talk the other game, the one that is going tonight. That's Miami taking on Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. Rams, Panthers, his thoughts on the biggest favorite on the NFL wildcard slate. And then he gave us that nice winner on the Heat last week. He's going to talk Heat and Bulls. The Heat actually a favorite this time. So does he lay points? Does he take points? We'll find out with Joe Raineri. And then, Andy, you and I going to do a little deep dive, a little look back, if you will. We were going to do this on New Year's, where we were going to take stock in what happened in 2025, look forward to what's coming in 2026. But with two guests today, it's a great way to do it today. So join us in the comments with that. It's going to be a hell of a show, Andy. And Brentford 3-0 win. Oh, what a sweat. 11-5 on the free plays here, baby. Let's keep it rolling.
Absolutely crushed them. I forgot the game was in the afternoon. Went and checked.
You logged on, saw the score, and you were like, man, yeah, I guess we could have even laid the handicap. Could have laid the Asian handicap. You could have laid the goal in 3/4, if you will.
Yeah. Why is it called an Asian handicap?
I don't know. It feels icky. You could just call it
a soccer. It's a soccer.
I think it's because that's how all of their lines typically go in like Asian sports betting, is you can bet quarter lines. But regardless, I don't like it. It makes me feel weird when I say it.
It is weird. So, all right, you know who's not weird? Steve Merrill.
No.
Let's bring him on. How's that for a professional segue? Huh?
I'm so glad that you didn't bring me in 30 seconds sooner, because that's so many
jokes we know better than that, Steve.
I was going to say, don't call it an Oriental handicap. That's not appropriate. That's what it was called 30 years ago. And I mean, there's so many things we could do here, though. But it's so funny when Dan said Asian handicap and sat weird with me, too. I was like, what the hell's Dan doing?
You're like, what the hell are you talking? What are we doing?
Why is he picking on half the world right now? Quarter lines. I've been doing this 30 years. I'm not a big soccer bettor in the other sports, and I probably should know this, and I've learned it 3 or 4 times, but the whole quarter line thing still confuses the hell out of me.
Yeah. No, if it weren't for Carmine, I would still not. He's had to explain it to me like 4 times.
Good. I feel better then.
I think I finally get this vaguely, at least. You're splitting your bet between 2 different bets. Yeah.
I will never forget when live on air, I had to explain to Teddy what a same game parlay was.
Really?
that was,
yeah.
He's in Vegas. He doesn't get.
Yeah, they are fairly new.
He had no idea what he was like. What's the same game parlay? It's like,
well, that's because I remember
you were like the book. A same game Asian parlay. Don't even start me on that.
Yeah, then you're screwed on that one. No, but I remember that show because Teddy, of course, he's more a traditional bettor. He's a sides and totals kind of guy. He dabbles a little bit in player props here and there. But I remember he was like, Andy, you won't be able to put those options together. They're in the same game. And Andy was like, hold up. Let me break something down for you. There's something that these people tell us to bet our entire bankroll on, and that is same game parlay. DraftKings and FanDuel is like, please bet these same game parlays. And Andy cracked the code on betting them. It's blue Teddy's
SGP.
Mind. Yeah.
He doesn't play for the Thunder, but it's an SGP.
All right, Steve, we got some huge games, and thank you for jumping in last second. Yanni is celebrating the institution of marriage today. He's not getting married, but he's celebrating.
I was just
going
to say, you're confusing people now.
All right, Oregon and Indiana. Remember, I went to IU. Be very, very careful with how you break this game down. My Hoosiers are a 3.5-point favorite over under 48. I'm just kidding. Tell us your real opinion. How do you break this big game down?
Yeah, of course, I've got a standalone video for this game. Went up a couple days ago, nice and early. So people want a deep dive, full 10-minute deep dive into this one. Check out the video here on WagerTalk TV. I've also got a video for tonight's Thursday night matchup between Ole Miss and Miami. So that one is also available. Deep dive in that. Joe's going to go over that game in a moment. As I said in the video, I've had Indiana as my number one team now for several months. I had them as ranked higher than Ohio State when they played. People that watched that video recall that I liked the Hoosiers. In fact, I used them as a best bet for my clients as a live dog. They won that game outright. So I am a believer in Indiana. And, obviously Oregon is a very good team too. In fact, I think this is basically the national championship game. Whoever wins this game will be favored over the Miami Ole Miss winner next week. So these are the two best teams remaining. And Oregon's a very solid opponent, but Indiana is the best team in the country. I rate them as the stronger offensive and defensive team in this game. I rate them as the best offense and defensive team remaining of anybody in the Final Four. Line is a little pricey, though. My 10,000 game simulation has Indiana by about 2. So at 3.5, you are paying a premium. Would have liked it more at -3 or less. Very key number. But we even see a 4 floating around in one of the sharpest global books. 3.5's juice. So I don't think we're getting down to that key number of 3. In fact, if you like Indiana, you probably should play 3.5 because there are some 4s showing. If you like Oregon, maybe shop around and wait. Get that +4. Might be available by kickoff tomorrow night on Friday. I will point out this is a rematch, of course, from the regular season. And another thing historically that actually doesn't favor Indiana here is that the rematch teams normally they lose the second time out. We saw Ole Miss get Georgia last week. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's been 6 rematches the last couple of years in this playoff format. And the only time that the team has swept was when Ole Miss beat Tulane in the first round this year. And, of course, they were a 2.5 touchdown favorite, so it's not like that was something special. Otherwise, the revenge teams are 5-0 recently, including Ole Miss against Georgia last week. With that said, though, I'm not going to let that steer me towards Oregon because Indiana won that game legit. They outplayed Oregon on the road. They were actually a 7-point dog in Eugene. So here again, a pretty big line adjustment. You take maybe, say, 2-3 points out for home field. That line was, say, 4.5. It's now 3.5. We're talking about an 8-point adjustment, a full touchdown adjustment from just a few months ago. But it's warranted because Indiana is the best team in the nation. And the other thing I'll point out as well is that we talk about how bad those teams with the bye have done the last 2 years. They're 1-7 straight up. The last 2 years with this 12-team format, the team that had the extended layoff has gone 1-7. Well, the one team that didn't go 0-7 was Indiana, and they won by over 30 points. So they were in a terrible situation historically. The other teams were 0-7, and they still won by over 30. I think this is a really powerful team. Cignetti is an incredible coach. What he did at James Madison, he's carried right over to Indiana the last 2 years. And I'd rather have the better team on both sides of the ball in a basic straight-up win situation. If you're going to play it, I would lay it with the Indiana Hoosiers. Andy Lang's Indiana Hoosiers at 7:30 Eastern Friday night on ESPN.
Let's go. I'm going to hang out with all my college buddies tomorrow to watch, and we're still just on text threads like, I can't believe we're getting together to watch IU playing the national championship semifinal. Like this.
Andy, did you see some of the numbers? I saw this the other day. I forgot to mention this in my video, and I don't have them in front of me, but since the history of Indiana football, which is I think over 100 years maybe, I think their long-term win percentage in like over the last century is like 42% or something.
Oh,
they had been ranked, was it top 5, I think, for like a combined 7 weeks in 100 years or something. And they've been top 5 11 weeks the last 2 seasons or something. That's how much of a shocking change this has been. And I know it feels weird, but then you look at what they did, to Ohio State, what they've done to some other good teams, and what they did to Oregon in that game on the road. They just continue to win. Oregon, by the way, has won 8 straight, and they've covered 6 of the last 8. They're a really good team as well. So nothing would surprise me here, but I do think this is the national championship game.
I've told people this story. So my senior year, I don't know why we tried to do this. They made their homecoming game against Ohio State when Ohio State was number 1. And they hyped the campus and the students up for a week. Come out, support the team. We got something special planned. And I'll never forget, it was like 35 degrees. It was drizzling rain. And Ohio State ran the opening kickoff like right down our throats, down to the 20. And I think everyone was gone by halftime. That is my memory of what IU football is. And so to now just see where we are is crazy. I wanted to ask you about the line movement, because I think there's a lot of people that would say, well, you have to play Oregon because just earlier in the season, IU was the big underdog.
Right.
You can't have this big of a line swing. So you're getting the best of the Oregon number. What do you like? What's your take on looking at it from that perspective?
Yeah, I talk a lot about the preseason numbers. I do that in my NFL videos a lot because we had, bettable lines on every single NFL game back in, June, July, August. And people always say, why you mention that, Steve? It's not worthwhile now. It's like, well, it's interesting to see the perception of how teams have overachieved or underachieved. And we get those in college football. We get look-ahead lines as well. One thing I've noticed over the years, and I've back-tested this, is that just blindly taking that difference of, say, 2 touchdowns like in a college football game in October versus what it was in August does not make you money because the line was just wrong back then. And this is a situation like that because that line was just wrong back in October. Indiana was the better team. The better team should never be getting 7 points on the road, and they proved that. It is a little bit of an adjustment because it's not like Oregon has played worse since. In fact, Oregon, as I mentioned, has won 8 straight since that loss, and they've gone 6-2 against the spread. I will point out, though, that Oregon was a double-digit favorite in every game but 3. The games they weren't a double-digit favorite, they only beat Iowa on the road by 2. They did beat Washington on the road by double digits and cover. And, of course, they beat Texas Tech last week, and we'll talk about that real quick. 4-1 turnover edge, and Texas Tech was off that extended layoff. We have to be so careful to overreact to last week's games because we've seen now for 2 years in a row the teams with the extra time off have gone 1-7, and it's not a fluke. Mm-hmm. College football is so offensive-oriented, passing precision, explosive offense like Texas Tech does not benefit from the layoff. And once again, who was the one team that came out and bucked that trend? It was Indiana, and they did it with authority by 35 points. So, yes, it's an extended line move, and like I said, I make it around 2. So I would have liked to gotten that key number of 3 instead of 3.5. But I wouldn't read too much into it. They were the better team a few months ago, and they're the better team now.
We move on to the NFL. We got a massive game, Bills, Jags. There's a lot. We've talked about this game a lot. Is this the 2 best teams? Is this a game featuring the 2 best teams in the AFC? I mean, the line is 1.5. I mean, it's kind of basically
pick them in some spots.
Yeah. Over-under's 51.5. This is at Jacksonville. Interested in your take. I've heard a little bit of everything on this game. What say you? What do you like in this one?
Well, I will say my first reaction when I saw, Jacksonville having such an incredible season, I was like, they're a phony team. They have no playoff experience. I don't think they're as good as their record. In fact, they even had a chance of the 1 seed going into the final week a week ago. With that said, though, as I dug into this game more, I think you got to be cautious with Buffalo. I mean, I think back to week 1, when they had a 1% chance of winning with 4.5 minutes to go against Baltimore in that Sunday night opener, found a way to do it. Down, 21-0 against New England a few weeks ago. Found a way to come back. Buffalo's defense is still very suspect, and this should be a high-scoring game. And you look at the total, open 51.5. It's still hovering around 51.5, 52. I point that out because 51 is a key number. About a 3 to 4% chance this game lands exactly 51. A lot of margins get us there. Obviously, 31-20, 41-10. I don't think we'll get that score, but there's a lot of margins that get you to 51. 27-24, one way or the other is probably the most likely outcome in this game. Also, a little surprised that Buffalo is not more of a public side in this game. Line open 1. As Dan pointed out, there are some pick'ems out there now. And some of the public consensus I look at is actually leaning towards Jacksonville a little bit. So the public seems to be a believer in the Jags here, which surprised me a little bit. But I think it's hard to make a case for the under in this game. Yes, playoff football, playoff basketball, whatever sport has more defensive intensity. But I'm just not sure these teams are that great on the defensive side of the ball. You look at the Bills once again this season. They're averaging over 28 points a game. Jacksonville's averaging at 28 points a game. Both teams can move the football. Bills are a below-average defense. They gave up 21.5 points a game this year against teams that averaged about 21.5 points. They gave up 5.5 yards per play against teams that averaged just 5.4. Jacksonville's actually the better defensive team, giving up 5.1. They played a fairly weak schedule as well. And the real difference here is while Jacksonville is a decent defense statistically, Buffalo stops the pass well, but they do not defend the run well. They're giving up over 5 yards a carry, and that's a problem in the NFL playoffs. You've got to be able to play smash mouth football, dominate the line of scrimmage. So I think this is a tight game, and if you're going to play that total, since 51.5 is such an ugly number, maybe we start looking at a team total. Buffalo's priced at about 26.5, Jacksonville 24.5, and that's kind of strange considering this game is -1, even pick them in some spots. Now, if you look around, there are some spots with less juice. Jacksonville 26.5. I like the Jags team total up and over. I think they get to 27 or more in this game. So 24.5 juiced or 26.5 no juice, not a big difference because 25 and 26 are definitely dead numbers. think it'll be a high-scoring game, but if you're worried about Jacksonville having a decent defense, just take them out of the equation and play over that Bills' bad defense. Jacksonville at home, team total over 24.5 makes some sense.
I got a prop to run by you, Steve, because you hit on it. This Bills rush defense is just truly one of the worst. Travis Etienne to have 25-plus rushing yards in each half, plus 120.
Yeah, and I think another thing to point out is I know Trevor Lawrence is, a college football experienced quarterback, but he's not an NFL playoff experienced quarterback. And at home, I think you're going to probably maybe be a little conservative. And that's another reason why the full game over maybe makes you a little nervous. It could be a slow start. And that means they're going to run the ball. And it's a competitive game also. The running back props, as you know, Andy, when you're getting blown out, worry in the second half because you have to throw the ball. But this should be a competitive game throughout. It's a pick 'em price. I'm with you on that one. I think that's an interesting way to slice it up.
It's a huge day. We're going to get to Cavaliers and Timberwolves, but first, tell everyone what you have up at WagerTalk. I know you got a bunch of free plays. What do you have for clients? Give us the rundown. What videos do you have? Your video machine on the YouTube channel. Give us a rundown.
Yeah, I've done both of the NFL, both the college football playoff games for Thursday and Friday. Those free play videos are up now. I'm going to do some NFL videos starting today, and I held off because I'm going to combine the Fade the Public concept with all the game breakdowns and wanted to get the most up-to-date public information. So we'll definitely have the 2 games for Saturday, the 3 games for Sunday, and then the standalone Monday Night Football game. And I'm excited about Saturday's video. As we know, we went 14-3 on the prime games this year in the NFL on Thursday night, and Dan's Eagles on Friday actually would have been 14-2 otherwise. But the point is, I thought we were done with prime games until I saw the TV schedule this week. Bears-Packers Saturday night is a prime game. So we'll have a chance to improve that to 15-3 in that Saturday video. And it's also the first time ever I can combine playoffs with prime in one video. I'm so excited. Check it out here on WagerTalk TV. Click subscribe, click the bell for alerts. Every single NFL playoff game, including the Super Bowl, free here on WagerTalk TV.
I love
Sportsbooks hate it when it's prime time.
I'm the only guy watching
Sportsbooks
Sunday
hate
night
it when it's
football.
prime time for Steve.
Well, Dan, they released the schedule last Sunday night, like at 11:30 at night. I'm watching it, and I'm the only person that gets excited because I was looking at the matchups, seeing which days they were, and they happen to have little small fonts, the networks. And for some reason, I looked just because I mentioned them in the videos, and I see Prime on the Saturday night game. I'm like, yes. I was like, that'll get people excited because it's been an incredible run, and now we get a Saturday Prime game to throw into the mix. Dan's Eagles 14-2 if you take out his damn Thanksgiving Friday game, which I had to pick.
I know. We all got burned.
I think
on
the over, maybe. I think I had the over.
we all got burned on that one, Steve. We got Joe coming up next, and I had to remove myself from on air because Joe might have a little treat for folks coming up here on the show. But Steve's got a treat for you right now, talking Cleveland Cavs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. How are you betting this one? It looks like Minnesota's floating around 2.5-point favorite, Steve. 239.5 the total. How are you betting this one?
So Monday, I came on and did 2 games here with Andy and Dan in the NBA on WagerTalk Today. And right after I did the breakdown of the Nuggets Sixers, it went from 9 to 12. It went from 12 to 15 because they were sitting Gordon and Murray. Closed at like 17. I'd given out the over, which I was still okay with. And then, of course, the Nuggets win outright in overtime as like a 17-point dog. The other game I broke down Monday was Clippers-Golden State. I mentioned the Clippers, and then about an hour after, and that line goes from -1 to 3. The Clippers went outright. So it just shows, once again, the injury information in the NBA is so insane. If you just play against those teams that are shorthanded, you do well. And I bring that up because now, lo and behold, tonight, Anthony Edwards, injury management. I didn't know that was an injury. It's injury management is the injury. Is questionable to play tonight against Cleveland. And as I check the odds logic screen live here at 12:20 Eastern, the game is off the board in almost every location. It started to jump around. So we'll see what happens here. But, hey, look, I'll keep this one short and simple. If you play the shorthanded teams in the NBA, you keep making money. It continues to work. And I handicap these games basically the same based on situational analysis. Who might be in the lineup, yes, is important. But if you look at the recent years that you just play that shorthanded team, it's amazing how well they do. And it was a perfect 2-0 playing the ugly underdogs the other night. By the way, Donovan Mitchell, as the Cavs, is listed as questionable to play tonight because of rest. So we have both guys questionable in this game. What I will say, if it turns out neither one plays, the total will probably drop several points. And I actually come in and play the overs a lot of times because as we saw the other night with Denver, I don't have the box score in front of me, but there were names you would never recognize that had 15, 20 points for the Nuggets. These guys can score in their sleep. They're all the best players from college basketball, the best players in the world. and they all offensively can score when they get the chance. You know, a lot of people look at points and everything and think some guys score better than others. There's only one basketball, and there's only 48 minutes in a game. And when other guys get a chance to touch that basketball more, take more shots, they often step up. For example, right now, Cleveland's on a 5-1 under run in their last 6 games. You look at Minnesota, they've gone under in 3 of their last 5. We'll see where things settle this evening with the total and with the player situation. But if both of those guys are out, we've seen a total around 238, 239 today. It's right about 238.5 now being relisted. Don't fear that over. I think this will be a playground-style basketball game with no defense and a lot of offense.
Steve Merrill with breaking down the game with tidbits of nuggets of information that there's only one basketball.
Preseason. I should have started off this Cleveland-Minnesota game with preseason.
Yeah,
I don't handicap NBA preseason.
Yes,
but we had to handicap that game.
All right. Well, Steve, I'm pretty sure Donovan Mitchell will play tonight. He rested the other night.
He did. That was from the 6th. You're right. So, I mean, that's another reason.
He should play. Yeah.
That's what's interesting to me, though, Andy, is that we're still seeing Minnesota as a 2.5 point favorite, which makes you wonder if Edwards is playing, right? So it's just difficult to know this early in the day. But and that total is going to be a lot lower if he doesn't play.
I think it's just the fate of this Cleveland team. They can't put it together. They've been one of the biggest underachievers this year. It's been really disappointing. So I kind of get it. It's a Cleveland team that's just underwhelmed for sure. So, Steve, great job. Thank you for jumping in. Check him out over at WagerTalk.com. All those free play videos. It gives you continued luck on that that big prime run, man, Steve. That's really cool, really fun. So, I mean, so technically the Super Bowl is a prime game, right?
I think it's NBC, I believe. They've been promoting that as Olympics and everything that
a Peacock game. What's the record on Peacock, Steve?
Yeah, it'd be Peacock. Yeah, so Peacock was what game was that last week? It was one of those games.
Yeah,
we'll have to check that out.
Well, anytime it's on NBC, it's there too. So
the prime record last year was like over 70%. The Thursday night football game last year, and I didn't even keep track of that. And then it started so incredible this year. People kind of were keeping track of it for me. It's I need to be a little more aggressive making more of those client best bets. It's one of those things you love going, you know, I know you feel like you go 15-3, but it's like I maybe made 3. I think I went like 3-0 on the best bets actually. But hey, it's great. Thousands of people are getting it, building their bankroll, and then it's always a good thing when we learn and earn and win together here, Dan Alexander on WagerTalk TV.
You know it. Rob's already in there. Let's learn and earn together. Big thanks, Steve Merrill, WT.buzz/SM. And Andy, before we bring Joe in here, do want to mention, because it's active on your page, on Joe's page. I mean, this is a hell of a deal that people can get 7 days of access. Basically, you're paying for 3 days and you're getting 4 free is essentially what you're getting with this deal. 7 days of all access, $69, and you can get it at any of these guys' pages. Andy, what do you got locked and loaded tonight before we get a 3-game breakdown from our man Joe?
Sure. I think the hottest thing that we're running in right now is boxing. A few months ago, we started putting up boxing plays. Well, Jan, our cricket department, who's now our boxing department, he thunk it. He came to me and said, we need to put up boxing plays. So 7-1 to start the boxing run. And we have a 4% best bet, and this one's plus money. So that just went up. And the best part is Johnny Detroit said I can put him up for half price. Try and get a little bit of an audience going here. So it's only $12.50 for a 4% best bet. If you want something more long-term, which we always recommend, promo code Andy100 is still live. We had a horrible night in the NBA. Everything I picked was a loser. Like leans didn't go well. Official plays didn't go well. So, this is why you get 30 days. If you just got last night's plays, you're really mad at me. You get 30 days. We got 29 days. We can show you what we can do, such as boxing, such as our NFL plays and things like that. So promo code Andy100. But if you just want the boxing play, it is half price. That's at WT.buzz/AL. Shows, the prop line show, first week of doing that. Going really well. We almost hit a 24-1 same game parlay last night. We were a couple points away. Yeah, it was a good one. But RJ in the chat, he did hit his same game parlay. We used the same kind of thinking, and he hit his. So that's going really good. Golf show starts next week, Dan. We will be breaking down golf. We got a new guest. that's going to join me. And our fantasy golf league starts next week. If you are interested in joining fantasy golf, put your email in the comment section. It's a one and done. You pick one golfer a week. That's it. We run it every year. We've been doing it for like 12 years. So if you want to play fantasy golf, just put it in the comment section. So a lot of good stuff going on. Let's bring in Joe. Joe, I
wonder what Joe's going to talk today. You like that? You like that outfit?
I'm just
I saw
look at that. Look at this. I had no idea that they were playing today. I really did.
Oh, this thing just fell out of my closet.
Yeah, it just fell out. Yeah. Actually fell out of my girlfriend's closet.
While Steve and
Andy
were
I can't
talking,
even put it on my leg.
While Steve and Andy were talking, I was seeing Joe trying to see how do I lay this perfectly and drape this so they can see what I have for them. Big time game tonight, Joe. I bet you never thought you would be here on WagerTalk today breaking down Miami and Ole Miss at the start of this season. And you're the man who helped coin the term, we're going to get Cristobal. Does getting Cristobal have a new meaning now, Joe?
It does. It means if you're ranked, you're screwed. And that's pretty much what we've watched Miami do here. Actually, last game of the season against Pittsburgh, nobody thought that Cristobal or Miami could win in cold weather on the road. These are the games they lose. And to everyone's credit, they're right. I mean, that's why we had so many nicknames for them. And we always tried to avoid getting Cristobal. But something changed with this team this year, and they took that, they rolled it into going into Texas A&M, one of the hardest places to play in all of college football at College Station, and they rolled them there. I mean, that's a damn good offense of Texas A&M that they held to 3 points? Then they took it into another neutral site game on the road to Ohio State, and boy, oh boy, that didn't work out well offensively for Ohio State, and now Ole Miss is next up here. So if defense wins championships, you got to love where Miami's sitting right about now here, Andy.
Well, and I'm wondering, you got your own wardrobe here going. Look, I got nothing. I got you got high school lacrosse I used to coach, and they suck.
Awful. Take that off. That's awful.
Andy, you're muted, buddy. But I need a wardrobe change. I'm not gonna go throw my Penn State shit on. I can tell you that much, Joe.
Dude, you're wearing your Eagles thong. Who are you kidding?
I can't show that on air.
We know what you're wearing. Yeah. We know what you got on.
Show that on air.
Liar.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see the banana hammock this early.
No.
No, Joe, I got something fun for you. The Joe and Andy parlay. Miami and Indiana money lines parlayed plus 150.
I hate that. I don't, I didn't get a chance to look at the future, but if you get exact matchup there, but it does feel like Indiana and Miami, the storylines would write themselves. It would just be tremendous to see both of that. Although I got to tell you, the Oregon-Miami final, let's not forget who replaced Cristobal at Oregon. His name is Dan Lanning. So that would also be a very interesting. Either way, to have it in Miami's home stadium to play for a national championship, I can't imagine what that sideline of Miami will look like. I can't imagine the amount of guys that – you'll literally have to keep Ray Lewis from running onto the field, Michael Irvin. It would be the who's who of former college football NFL greats that are going to show up on that sideline.
Not enough cocaine coming out of Venezuela
I don't know who would show up on Indiana's side. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe they bring some old basketball players back because I'm not sure who Indiana could match in college football royalty on the sideline like Miami has.
I think it's just Mendoza. That's all we need. He's got enough energy for everybody.
Could be. That's exactly it. I love it.
I mean, if it's Indiana, Miami, I might have to make a trip down there, Joe. I may have to. So,
come on down.
Well, let's move to NFL here. We got the Rams. We got the Panthers. It's by far the biggest spread of the weekend here. Rams totally expected to roll. Strange game. They're getting Devontae Adams back here. I guess it's It feels like if you're taking the Panthers, it's almost like money line or nothing in this one. But what's your breakdown on this Rams being this big of a favorite here with the over under 46.5?
It's always been, Andy, I think since, 2011, I think the number is that when you get to the wild card, double-digit dogs are double-digit dogs, I think, for a reason, right? I mean, the numbers, I think, bear out where it has been very not profitable to back double-digit dogs in the wild card round. In fact, I think we've only had one loser over the years since 2011 in which an outdog, a dog actually ended up winning straight up a double-digit dog, and that was Tennessee back in 2019 against the Baltimore Ravens of all people. That's when Vrabel was still there and Derrick Henry was still a Titan. But that's it. So especially these two teams having actually played against one another, and if it wasn't for a slight hurricane in the second half there with a monsoon and the wind blow, let's face it. Carolina needed a lot of things to go well to beat them at home back there in week 11, week 12, whatever it was there. The chance of that happening again, slim to none here. You got to love McVay. You got to love Stafford in this spot. It would only be lay the points or not at all in this game for me. 10.5. You're a 10.5 point dog for a reason. Why you're even hosting a playoff game as an 8-win team, that's a whole different discussion. But kudos to making the postseason. But your trip ends here on Sunday.
I so want to just make the cute Panthers. Oh, they're gonna shock them. They lost the must-win. How did they lost their must-win team?
Yeah. You needed the Falcons, who immediately fired the entire organization got canned after they ended up winning and putting you in the. You should go and hire him right now is what you should do because you owe him, Carolina, in a big, big way.
Well, and I saw one thing after that Tampa Bay game, too, that there was the debate of, what did we see out of Bryce Young? He threw a really bad interception in that game. Sure, he made up for it later in the game. But, one thing that I think you can use maybe in a couple of these games, and not every trend you fully go in, but quarterbacks making their first ever NFL playoff start versus quarterbacks with playoff experience. That's ones that have played, one or more, not even factoring in guys who have won Super Bowls, 20-40 straight up, 20-39-1 against the spread since 2002. So that's Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Drake May. They're all guys who are playing their first playoff game against a quarterback who has played another one. So history not on their side either, Joe, and even recent history. If you want to give one positive, we have to find one positive for the Panthers. It could be raining this week. When they beat the Rams earlier this year, is raining. That's the one positive you can find, Joe.
Yeah, and listen, by the way, word of advice to Carolina Panther fans. Don't show up to Falcons games and celebrate after the Falcons win a game because you couldn't win it on your own again.
Lost your way in.
Right, dude, I would just be quiet. I'd walk and celebrate in the car, celebrating in the bathroom by yourself. Do not celebrate in open as if you just won something at an Atlanta Falcons game.
Yeah, but isn't that the most NFC South thing ever?
I
said it last week on the show. I said Tampa Bay is going to win, Carolina's going to cover, and Falcons are going to knock them out of the playoffs. It was you knew this is what happens in the NFC South.
I'd rather see New Orleans and the rookie of the year there play in the playoffs than anything else, even with as few names as any of us even know on that team. So kudos, Tyler Shug. Way to go, man.
So they literally had Steve Merrill as their running back to end the year, and they still ended up as the best team on paper in the NFC South.
Ridiculous.
Joe, we got to move to NBA. Your Miami Heat versus this Chicago Bulls team. This Bulls team, that 5-0 start feels like it was 83 years ago. This Bulls team, not only are they losing, they are losing by margin. They got killed again last night to Detroit. Now your Miami Heat is minus 7.5. Waiting to hear on Hawkes. I'm not sure if he's going to play tonight. We got an over-under at 237.5. This is a Bulls team I'm not excited to bet on. What about you?
No, well, you can't at this point. I mean, the injuries are just have piled up here, and it feels like they've kind of lost their way. And now they're welcoming in a Miami Heat team who it feels like that's what the Bulls wanted to do. They wanted to go up tempo. They wanted volume of shots. They wanted to make some threes. And to your point, Andy, it worked really great to start the season. Yeah, then it didn't work very good at all after there. It wasn't a great shooting night for Miami last game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, they struggled a lot there, but listen, they're not going to get any resistance from the Chicago Bulls here in any way, shape, or form. We are starting to see some under money here too, which is interesting enough here, as maybe the market thinks both these teams have slowed down. I don't. I would only look at the over here, but even at 7.5, it feels like the Bulls are they're going to try to match tempo for tempo with the Heat, and I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up scoring wise in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. This Bulls team, I mean, they're not even getting to 100 points on their own team total, so it's brutal. So, Well, Joe, I know you're going to be having a blast tonight. We'll be rooting for you for sure. Pull for this Miami, Indiana. I'm serious.
Absolutely.
I may have to hightail it down there. So, what do you have up for everyone at Wager Talk?
Come on down. It might be a little cold for you. Temperature in the upper 60s, low 70s, Annie. I hope you have clothes for that, because it's. I might have to light a fire tonight. Just telling you, it's getting a little chilly here. Go get right now, locked and loaded. NFL wildcard weekend plays are up. I do have a play tonight in college football as well as tomorrow night's game there with Oregon and Indiana. And we've got a couple of college basketball plays and one NBA on a light card here tonight. Kind of a little disgusting card, but I do think I have an angle, Andy. And all of it, like you said, available with that great offer right now. I mean, 7 days for the price of 3. That is what you got to take advantage of.
Great stuff, Joe. Good luck tonight. Have fun. Hope you don't have anything planned early in the morning tomorrow.
Cocaine's, yes.
No,
yes.
I'll be
R.I.P. to that bottle of Whistle Pig that you have, Joe. R.I.P.
Right, exactly. All hail Whistle Pig. Enjoy, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Have a good one, Joe.
Dan, I got a shout out to Garth. Garth is incredible in our Discord at picking volleyball, and I'm not kidding. He knows all these leagues, follows it religiously. He was on a hellacious tear in our Discord in volleyball. So shout out to Garth. He knows his volleyball, and he does it smart, man. He follows the sport. He tells you when he's laying off. He tells you when he's hammering something. He does a really, really good job. So good job to you, Garth. So.
Let's go.
Dan, we can do all around the world free picks, and then we will do our 2025 recap and our 2026 look ahead. This is personal and professional. So my guess is if you didn't like the Stranger Things segment, you probably aren't going to.
Yeah, you can tune out. You can be like, F these two guys who give us free plays and get deep dives for us. We don't care what you have to say. You just make us a bicycle clown.
Yeah, we do it every year, and it gets serious, but I think it's important to do some self-reflection, and David's nice enough to join me in doing this today. So, all right, free plays. Pacers and Hornets, I love these little totals with guys that are playing around 20 minutes. So we'll take Ben Shepherd over 5.5 points. He's been productive off the bench since returning from injury. He's gone over this number in all 4 games since return. 8 of 11 from threes during that stretch. Coming off of his last performance against Charlotte, he played 30 minutes, but he scored 15 points. So Ben Shepherd over his points. Dawson Mercer over 1.5 shots on goal. This is the biggest streak in props right now. He's gone over this number in 10 straight games. 10 straight games this has cashed. Each of the last 2 against Pittsburgh, he's gone over, and the Penguins allow 21 shots on goal per game to forwards and centers. So see if you can make it 11. It's the biggest streak right now. And this comes off the Wager Talk free picks page from Rob Vino. College basketball, Lemoyne and New Haven. Lemoyne -5. New Haven, this is their 7th straight road game. They've lost 5 of 6, 4 of them by 6 or more points. New Haven, 10th worst 3-point shooting team. They're at 27%. Lemoyne, first home game since November. They're a much better 3-point shooting team. So on the free picks page, Rob Vino likes Lemoyne -5. Those are
Boom.
free plays. So,
Andy, real quick before we get into it, I have to keep it going. People always ask for it, whether they're following or fading.
oh, you do have one
or,
today. You
or
do
LFG.
have one.
I
Okay.
did. I grabbed one right as Joe was talking. I dived in on the game tonight and actually found a player prop for the folks here tonight that I think makes a good amount of sense. 12-5 on the WTF and LFG plays. Is this sustainable? Hell no, but we're going to have fun for the time being. The play for me, we're looking at the quarterback here for Ole Miss, who impressed last week and really all season long, Trinidad Chamblis. And we're taking him, Andy, over 23.5 yards rushing. Now, last week, he only has 14 against Georgia. I'm aware of that, but he's gone over this number 8 times this year, including outlier games like 112 yards that he had against Tulane. Why are we betting this tonight after he only had 14? Georgia clearly challenged him. They said, we're going to shut down your legs, try and beat us with your arm. He did just that. I mean, he was making incredible plays. He was using his escapability to extend plays, but was then throwing it downfield. Miami has a real chance at getting after this guy tonight, and I think it's caution to the wind, obviously. I think Trinidad Chamblis could be on some scramble drills early, Andy. I think 23.5 is just a tick too low. I would play this thing up to 28.5. As a matter of fact, I think he gets around 30 or more. Trinidad Chamblis over 23.5 rush yards. WTF LFG.
I don't know much
It's okay.
about his rushing. I'll go with an LFG because you've been really good at these. So
Yay!
We'll go with LFG. I have
Dog
no
likes it as
strong
well.
Opinion about this one. So
All right.
I
like it. Comment below. Let me know you following or fading. Again, 12-5 on these plays. The regression is coming, but let's have fun before it does, baby.
All right. Let's you're getting big time agreement here. Rob likes it. John Gang likes it. So can't argue with the hot hand there, Dan. So all right. Let's do 2025 personal and professional recap and what we're looking to in 2025. So I will go first here. 2025 biggest professional win. This one was tough because I had 2 big ones. And so obviously launching my skincare was a huge professional win for me, but then hosting WagerTalk Today. I mean, those are the 2 biggest ones, and I couldn't pick one. I really couldn't pick one. I have a tie for my biggest professional win. So
that's fair.
Yeah. I just couldn't say this one's over the other. So what was your biggest professional win?
I mean, it's a no-brainer sitting alongside you here, Andy. We joke about it all the time. When I first started here, producing behind the scenes, one of my main goals or one of my main jobs here was producing a NASCAR show with Andy Lang. We recorded every single week together, and I never thought in a million years we would be getting to sit alongside. I always loved working with Andy, but sitting alongside him, being the second chair here on what I personally think is one of the best daily sports betting shows that is on there. This community that we've been able to build, that you started and I've gotten to be a part of as well, that we get to piggyback off of what a Prez and Teddy have done. Absolutely love this show. I'm looking forward to it in 2026 as well. But sitting alongside you here in a hosting capacity, not just pushing the buttons behind the scenes, easy professional win. Took the cake for me, man. All
right. Biggest personal win. What was your biggest personal win outside of?
Yeah, I mean, I got married to the love of my life this year. It's hard to not have.
This was the easiest one.
Easiest one to take the cake there. Absolutely incredible wedding that we had. So hitting the jackpot, out kicking the coverage, all of those things. Easy biggest personal win with a little sidecar. This one is more 2026 than 2025, but we purchased our first home together. We'll be moving back east here next week, actually. So I'll be missing a couple shows because we'll be traveling back east. But yeah, marrying the love of your life, highly recommend. Marry your best friend, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this is where it gets a little dark. I do not have something that I can pick as my biggest personal win, and that's been the story of 2025 for me. I did not do anything great for my own life, and that has to change in 2026. This is the most depressing one. Is I look back on 2025 and I got so consumed with certain things that I did not do anything for Andy, and that is a massive, massive regret and something that I have to address. So this is the depressing part. I do not have a good personal win.
Well, yeah, also have to, think about how that's correlated, with what we do as sports bettors. You know what I mean? It's been a frustrating year for you and our team. And a lot of that is if your mental is not proper, you take a step back sometimes, folks, because if you don't have it in between your ears, you're going to be chasing losses. You're not going to be handicapping properly. You're going to be second guessing yourself. So, Andy, I'm going to force you in 2026 to do some Andy wins. That's going to be my
I have to. Yeah, I really, really do. So, all right, Dan, other professional wins, losses, just some little ones.
Dude, the Detroit trip with our video team.
Yes.
Holy God. Like, so when we made a couple of, transitions, whatever, we made the commitment. We were like, Kelly Stewart was like, we're getting everyone to the Detroit office. We're going to hang out with the folks who do the customer service. We're going to get to hang out with Johnny Detroit. The whole entire team absconded and made their way down to Detroit. And it was an absolute blast. Dinner in Greektown, one of my absolute cherished memories. We got closer as a team. So professional win. Who would have thought one of the best trips of your life would be going to Detroit? Yeah, that was an insane, started off an amazing trend upwards for this team with WagerTalk, and always will look back on that trip very fondly. Hopefully we do it again soon.
Yes, I had that down. That Detroit trip was amazing. That was so well done. So other professional wins for me, by far the best year for my production company. So that's a huge, huge relief. We can see the profitability on the horizon with my production company. So that was good. But here's my biggest professional loss. And this is just full disclosure. We had one of our worst betting years. January, February, and March, we could not miss. We could not miss. And then we just hit a 6-month funk and we could not get rid of it. Finally, in late October, we righted the ship. October, November, December, much, much better. But we ended up down 70 units if you use the WagerTalk units. So flat betting was a lot better, but we lost a lot of big plays in that 6-month run. My job is to be profitable at the end of the year, and I did not do my job. It's been a long time since we had a down year. And so, you were due, it's regression happens, but that's just not acceptable. When people pay for your services and you don't provide what you consider good expectations, it's a massive, massive loss on our part. So that is something that's got to change in 2026. By far, my biggest professional loss. Yeah. Personal win. You got any little personal wins outside of work?
Yeah. Outside of what we do here and the on-air capacity, I made a joke. I'm wearing my Mustangs lacrosse shirt. This was the first team that I started as an assistant coach for coaching lacrosse. So I moved into my 5th year of coaching. I started in 2021 or in 2020 and coached 3 different teams. One of the teams I coached out here in LA was that Palisades lacrosse team who they lost their entire school. So was able to help some of those kids kind of work through that. But 5 years of coaching, Andy, a big personal win for me was having my first ever job that I got paid to coach. I was a defensive coordinator for Redondo Lacrosse, and moving forward into 2026, I'm actually going to get to move home. And we had somebody ask, hey, you going back to PA? Yes, moving back to PA. And I'm going to get to be the coach for my nephew's lacrosse team. So that's coming up here in 2026, is a little look forward. But I love coaching, man. It's one of my absolute joys in life, and getting 5 straight years of it, and having someone respect my opinion enough that they brought me on to have an actual title and be able to run an entire defense was definitely great.
Dan glows when he talks about coaching.
I love it.
You may or may not know that, but you when you talk about coaching, you just have that glow about you. So I'm so glad that you have that passion in your life, man. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, if it weren't for WagerTalk, I wouldn't have that life-work balance that allowed it. You know what I mean? Like I have the opportunity to go and coach in the afternoon because of what we do with this team with WagerTalk. So that's it ties in with the professional and personal.
Personal wins and losses. I did get healthier. Worked hard on my blood pressure, my blood sugar. Both of those are much, much better. A loss. You guys all know we had to say goodbye to our dog, 15-year-old dog.
Yep.
This has affected me more than I thought, Dan. And now I know why. Outside of my 4 years at college, where you're just surrounded by a million roommates and everything, this is the first time in my life ever I have not had a pet. Since I was born, I've had a pet in the house.
Yeah.
So
Hearing
there's
little pitter patters, man, it hits different. Yeah, because we lost our cat this year too, and same thing.
Yeah, so it's hit home, and I haven't totally gotten over the loneliness. I am somebody that I don't like being alone. Like if my wife is gone, I have to have a TV on. I'm a lunatic. I need energy around. So that's been a little bit tough on that one. So, but honestly, we're not going to get a pet. My wife and I have places we want to travel, and you just can't do that with a pet. So
everything gets planned around. Do I have a pet sitter, or how do I get home? Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to 2026. Let's look ahead. Let's get some positivity going here. All right. Go back real quick. Did you have any sports wagering takeaways from 2025?
Yeah. I mean, and this has really been the 3 years that I've lived here in LA, and living in California just completely blew up what I did as a sports bettor, because it isn't legal here. And I'm not going to drive to Vegas, every single weekend just so I can get my action down. So I had to kind of adjust how I did things, and had to be playing on things like Prize Picks, like Underdog Sports, which just isn't my niche. So, I kind of took a full step back and was just like, it's going to be pizza money until I can actually be in a sport that has regulated, or a state that has regulated sports betting. So the 2026, that's something as we look forward, and turn the page, that will definitely be upping my action, and I think probably my ability to handicap these games when I'm actually able to wager on them, with my own hard-earned dollars with a regulated sports book. And the other thing, Andy, that I learned, that the sport that you have an edge in may not always be there. Like lacrosse lines in college lacrosse have gotten sharper. PLL lines have certainly gotten sharper. So that is where you have to adjust as your sports bettor. As being a niche sports bettor, 10 years ago, player props weren't even something that was being focused on by sports books. You could make an absolute killing in NFL player props, and it's just not the nature. So always be an amoeba and be able to adjust what you're doing as a sports bettor.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway, I had a couple moments where I wagered a massive chunk of my bankroll on plays that really, really were no sweat, no brainers.
Yep.
And that's been my biggest takeaway from my personal bankroll. I can't give them out as client plays, but just last week I had two plays that were both minus 1,000. I played them individually, and I got 10% return on investment. Both of them were over within 45 minutes. This was just a no sweat. We had the cricket big play on the Ashes. That was one of them. That has really opened my eyes. It's risky, but the return on investment just cannot be ignored. I've done really well on some of those. So that was my biggest takeaway from 2025. All right, 2026. Here we go. I'll go first. Professional goals. We have to have a winning year betting. We can't go through the slump that we did for those 6 months. So that's by far number one goal here at WagerTalk. Skincare company, really build that one. And I'm kind of putting this together. I have to get this production company and skincare company close to profitable. The skincare is a startup. We're not quite profitable, but we're close. And the production company is about a year away from being profitable. But to be honest, when you start these companies, you have to go in debt. You have to work really hard. And I've been nervous about money for a while with these companies. And I need to improve that, because I'm pretty sure that's been a source of some of the health problems that I've had. So this is my year to really get these businesses very close to profitable. And hopefully at the end of the year, both of them are profitable. Hands down, my biggest professional goal outside of WagerTalk. What about you?
Congrats to our man Sean, of course. Got
nice, Sean.
Absolutely love to hear it. Professional goals for me, we got to get to 250,000 subscribers. We're like 20K away. So, folks, if you're joining us, you're watching us, hit that like button. Tell your friends to subscribe. Hell, I don't even care if you make a burner or two and subscribe. But we need to get to 250,000 subscribers and early on in 2026. So if you see our content, pressing that like button and subscribing would go a long way. That is my personal goal as the head of the live video team. We need 250,000 subscribers. That's I need it in 2026.
It's a great one. It's a really, really good one. All right. Finishing up personal goals. I just got to get back to being fun and outgoing. I kind of lost that. I need to be a little bit more decisive on certain things. I kind of got into the wishy-washy part of it, and continue working on my health. I'm actually going to my doctor right after this, and I need to work on just being a better husband. I feel like sometimes I don't know what it is. I just feel like I need to work on that, and I need to be a little bit better. I'm not terrible. But I just think there's some ways that I can improve that. So it's going to be a focus for 2026. Those are my personal goals. What about you?
Yeah, man, I can't wait to get back east and get back into barbecuing. Absolutely. One of my passions is getting back into the smoker, cooking a little bit more. So since I will be a homebody, we'll be definitely getting into barbecuing. So stay tuned on @Newbie Talks, because the food picks and vids are coming. And crossover dribble, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, baby.
I think does he mean unsubscribe and then subscribe back again? And
He might. So actually, let the door hit you and then send you back in.
And then send you back in.
I apologize.
Sports wagering goals. Anything for you, Dan?
Yeah, mine is just, I kind of alluded to it. I got to get back to the grindstone. Being in a sports state for 3 years that didn't have regulated sports betting made a major hit on my ability to, not just handicap games, but when you don't have as much skin in the game, when you're using different outs, it just completely changed my attack at handling my bankroll. So getting back to doing what I do best, baby, and having skin in the game starting next week already is something that I'm super pumped for in 2026.
My biggest sports wagering goal is being profitable in golf. I had my first losing year in golf since I joined WagerTalk, and that was just the story of 2025. All of our like sports that we could just count on. We could PFL. We were down a little bit. Golf. We were down. These are sports that we could just absolutely
lacrosse
100% count on.
Break even.
I want to get back. Yeah. Absolutely. So, all right, woosah. This was good, Dan. This was really, really good.
This could be good for the peeps, the folks who were like, what the hell? Where were all the free picks? We gave out a total of 11 free plays on this show. So the episode is timestamped. You got the free picks. And in about 2 minutes from now, folks, don't worry, because you got the Blitz coming up. We're going to be breaking down both of the college football playoff games. So don't miss that for sure.
All right, it's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for joining us. If you want to put it out in the world, put in the comments section. What are some of your 2026 goals? We'd love to support you. Sometimes when you put it out there, you hold yourself a little bit more accountable. So thank you very much. And Dan, I'm so excited for your 2026. Moving back to your food roots. Let's do it, man. We're going to be back for Football Friday tomorrow.